Zoids Chuo no Tatakai might be one of the weirdest games I have played. There's a lot of, why would you do it that way in this game? First of all, Zoids is a toy line of robotic war machines piloted by humans. The backstory changes in literally every single iteration of it. In the US, they were called Stariers, and the story was that they were intelligent robots whose brains happened to be human-shaped. So what kind of game do you make out of that? Maybe some action platformer? A shoot-'em-up? How about a Dragon Quest knockoff? Once you enter your name, you start out in the throne room of the King of the Republic. No, I did not misspeak. You're the 20-meter tall mechanical Tyrannosaurus Rex. So naturally you walk up to the princess and king and talk to them. And then you can head downstairs and meet your wife. She's the red mechanical Tyrannosaurus Rex. She asks you to give up war, and if you agree, it's an instant game over. The story of the game is that the Republic is being attacked by the evil Empire, and you're tasked with freeing all of the Republic's cities from Empire rule. Now this might look like Dragon Quest, but there are no shops, no money, and no experience. At least not experience in a regular form. What you can do is find parts for a super robot, or armor pieces you can attach to yourself to increase your abilities. As you free cities, you can also be promoted by the king to a new rank, and that lets you recruit additional Zoids. In fact, a small upgrade is available in the first town. If you search this spot in the park, and then talk to the Zoid inside, you'll get an item. Okay, now it's time to leave this first town and explore the world. As you walk around, you'll see these red Zoids. Those are the Empire's soldiers, and colliding with them starts a fight. Now you might think that means that you could just avoid all random battles, but there's a bit of a problem. The game has a tendency to spawn enemies directly on top of you. And I mean directly. Okay, we've gotten into a fight. We can see the enemy forces. You can select the data option to see what you have, or choose one of your allies to send into battle if you have any. You can also choose to use an inventory item. Mainly that would be a pod that can heal you. Or you could run away or fight. Running away is an interesting option since if an enemy spawned on top of you, you can't move. And so a few seconds later, you're right back into the fight. In fact, Zoids moving on top of you and locking up the game until it decides to move again is a problem that this game has everywhere. Okay, so now we're in combat. The vertical bars in the lower left are your health meter. You start out being able to take maybe 4 hits. Maybe. But your defense score can increase, and so can your life bar as you find parts. The radar shows where enemies are around you. All you have to do is blow everybody up. Rotate left and right, and hit B to shoot. It typically only takes 1 or 2 hits to defeat an enemy, but hitting them is pretty tough. I'd recommend just firing at a steady pace, then letting them wander in on top of your shots. Their shots will hit you if they close in and they're kind of still toward the middle of the screen. It's actually a pretty big area where the shots will damage you. I have successfully intercepted shots, shooting down the enemy bullets, but that doesn't seem to work particularly often. The way that the enemies shoot at you, you pretty much have to eat a couple of bullets. You're just not maneuverable enough to dodge anything, and getting people to the center of the screen can take a while. If the T-Rex is taken out, it's game over right there. That's why it's helpful to have allies that you can send into battle for you. If you head west from your starting point, you'll come across this little town, and inside the town, there's some people you can recruit. They look exactly the same as everyone else. But talking to this pterodactyl and this stegosaurus adds them to your party. Even with assistance, Zoids is a hard game. You just have to soak up too many hits, and if you just get unlucky with enemy spawns, then you're dead. I actually made it a goal to try to get back to the first castle so that I could get a password and heal. I never succeeded at it. Enemies spawned on top of me non-stop while I was walking through that narrow pass, and I never could get back to the castle. A password is the only way that you can continue as well. Healing, on the other hand, is available on all maps. You just have to talk to the right person. No, the game won't tell you who the right person is in advance. From there, the game's pretty open-ended. Go off and explore, try to free some cities. I have one special gameplay tip for this one. If you enter your name as Tana, then you start out with everything. Doing that means you'll survive more than 10 steps. Even in Japan, Zoids is remembered as an extremely difficult game. It's also remembered for its terrible writing. A lot of what the Zoids in town talk about is just nonsense. I was glad it wasn't just my shoddy Japanese skills that were the problem here. Somehow, Zoids actually got 2 sequels. The first one is pretty similar to this game, although perhaps not quite as crazy. The second is more of a strategic game. We won't be seeing those for a while, though. As for this one, yeah, it's a pretty bad game, but it's also just bonkers. It's a game you have to see to believe. And then once you've seen it, you're okay with putting it away forever and never looking at it again.